Okay, that's live. Did it go? It went. Woo! All right, here we go. Welcome, everybody. Houston, we have a problem. Jumping in here, and is the camera going to show up? It is. There it goes. All right, we're doing it. Wednesday. The market decided to be a little green today because people thought they were buying discounts, but we all know that they're going to get actually hammered the next couple of months anyway. HDK, AMTD, that Hong Kong one that had shot to $2,000 a month ago, went from 40 to like $250 today, and then dropped back down again. I put it in the description, but the Chinese IPOs, I think they've got just the scam down perfectly, in that they create one of those ARDs, ADRs, and they put their company as an IPO onto an American exchange. They get an underwriter, some big bank or institution, and that underwriter goes, "Sweet, I get like 5 million shares for being an underwriter," and the Chinese company goes, "Yeah, totally. We're going to do a $15 million share IPO. We'll get you 5 million shares." And the underwriter goes, "Excellent." And then they talk to their buddies and they go, "Hey, friend, I can get you a sweet deal on this stock. Before the market ever opens on it, you're going to get in on the IPO early." And they sell all 5 million of those shares to their buddies. And then the day the IPO comes, the stock launches, and the Chinese company never sends a single solitary share to the exchange. So everything that's been promised and sold is completely naked, and there are no stocks. None. Not a single one. And then it's a permanent squeeze. It will never not squeeze, because every single solitary share that trades does not exist. There is not a single real share in the market for HKD. Not one. They are all fake. So every single solitary buy is a naked sale, and it's brilliant. It is just a brilliant scam that these Chinese IPOs are doing. And I just gotta, hats off to them, right? I mean, you gotta appreciate a good scam when they do it. And it's absolutely just screwing over these big institutions. So yeah, they probably had a bunch of FTDs today. Thing went nuts to $250 out of nowhere. And they can't create an options chain for it yet because no one has any shares to create an option chain because the shares don't exist. It's wild, man. It's wild. All right, intro off. Other intro. Oh, that was on. Off. There we go. Gotcha. 2 shows in a row. Okay. All right. Hey, coordinates are working again. I talked to YouTube. Apparently, last show you guys are sending in coordinates, and they weren't appearing. So I talked to somebody who was very helpful at the help desk, and they were like, "That is weird. I'm going to contact someone in the program, one of the programmers right now." And it looks like they fixed it because I see coordinates popping up in the chat there. So, excellent. My internet blinked out between the time that I started, when I posted this thing, and now. So I lost a few of your early chats, but yeah. No, maybe I did get the first comment. Parataran says, "Hey, I'm the first comment." Okay, Parataran. Man, can't say I've been the first comment yet, so it's kind of an honor. Thoughts on our end of week predictions? Think we can reach $30 on GameStop? Yeah, because according to DVS, that's when those XRTs, FTDs, the FTDs for XRT ETF. I'm so many letters. I feel like I'm. So my mother retired from nursing, and she worked for the Veterans Administration. And so you work for a hospital, you work for the government, and you work for a group associated with the military, and then every word you use is just an acronym, an abbreviation. So yes, the GME XRT ETFs have FTDs. So, the GameStop XRT electronically traded fund has failures to delivers that are starting to be due on Friday. So that is, we might get a little pop on Friday, and we've been hovering around 29, so it's a good chance that by Friday it could push over 30. I'm not sure how many shares that push in the money. That is the monthlies this week, so there's more shares usually, more options available on the monthlies than the weeklies. So yeah, if it goes up a little over $30, might get a little pop for Monday and Tuesday, but plus there's still a lot of buying that has to happen for Monday and Tuesday for those FTDs. Okay, well, we do have a coordinate here from Paraterran, so I might as well jump to it since the last show we didn't get to jump to it. Oh, that is a picture of Germany. You don't need that. Why are you up there? Boink. You. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Oh, yeah, we're back in Gorst all of a sudden. Okay, where are we going? 11 degrees west. Oh, god damn it. No. I wasn't even looking. Gosh dang it. You son of a bitch. Live Africa. Okay, we've made it 0 shows without me being tricked into going to Live Africa. I didn't look at the coordinates. If I'd seen the 11 degrees west, I would have been like, no. There it is. There's that structure. Live Africa. For all of your glory and love. God damn it. Anyway, we leave Live Africa. I'm just going to go to the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And there, you get blue. I wasn't even paying attention. Slipped it right past me there. How? Damn it. Michael Steegs, you said any idea why No Lab Listings has moved from today to this Friday? No, but I got an email from them saying, "Hey, we're moving to the New York Stock Exchange on Friday." So that's the day they're doing it. By the way, I don't know why they postponed it 2 days. It's moving there, so No Labs is going to be traded on the New York Stock Exchange. They hit the price target they had to be to get on there, and I think it's going to be really, 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 really bad if any company starts shorting them at this point, because that is the biggest indicator you can get that their tech is legit is them being like, yeah, we can move to the New York Stock Exchange now and raise some more capital. Like, they announced they're raising I don't know, 10 million in capital, and their stock doubled. So that's good news. There's whispers happening that everyone's like, oh, No Labs is on something. So they're getting there, man. Homer's Ghost, garbanzo beans are surely the life of the bean party. I mean, they're very useful. You can turn them into chickpeas, we'll call them. Yeah, you can use them for all sorts of things. You can make a paste out of it, or you can eat it. You can use the water from garbanzo. Like you cook garbanzo beans, and the juice that comes off of them acts as an emulsifier, so it can be a fake egg white. So if you want to do like a gin fizz or something at a bar, you can use garbanzo juice, and it will whip right up just like egg white without having to give people salmonella. So they are very useful, Homer's Ghost. I would agree with you on the garbanzo beans. Yeah, they are the most useful. Outside of soybeans, they probably have the most uses. Because soybean gets turned into fake chicken, soy sauce, tofu, edamame, milk. Probably the most useful beans are the soy and the chickpeas. Sad Boy Incorporated, Houston, thoughts on buying puts on Sundial, Bed Bath & Beyond, or just straight up shorting those companies? I mean, I don't know why Sundial would want to get shorted, because we're about to legalize or decriminalize marijuana federally. And aren't they a pot company? I think they're a Canadian pot company, but it should be good news for them, right? Bed Bath & Beyond, I mean, they're doing all right now. They were still around $9. Is that where they were? Quick check of the list. Where are you? $8.60. So yeah, close to $9. But they might have a couple of pops because of still being shorted and failure to delivers, but their business plan is the Boston Consulting Group business plan, and that's not what you want to do if you want to save your company. Just know that if a company invested and hires Boston Consulting Group, it's over. Yeah. Okay. Wheat Wild. Hello. Enjoy. Okay. Where are we? Are we 39 degrees north, 21 must be Mediterranean? It's Wheat Wild, so it's probably Mediterranean. Oops. Can't see. There we go. Turkey? Where are we? We are on a windy road that looks like a magnificent drive. If you've got a car, that'd be a sweet drive. It's a cliff. It is... Should I go to the road by here, or should I look at the rock itself there, man? What are you? I mean, it's a lovely view of a valley. Should I be up on the road? Should I be up there? That is a great view. Oh, monastery. Is that what that is? Is that a monastery up there? What are you? There's some fantastic granite plutons here. Look at that pluton. Exit street view. Jump up. Jump up. Where's that? There it is. That looks like the interesting stuff. Okay, this has been completely modeled out. That is cool. Where are we? Are we in Turkey? It's a bus stop. Can I drop my little dude down here somewhere? Oh, I can. Okay, let's go right there. Oh, look at that bus. Got a food truck? Yeah, okay. Alright. Monasteries. Kick ass. There we go. Gift shop. You can buy some monastery t-shirts. Where the heck am I anyway? Am I in Turkey? Out, 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 out. Go north. Whoa. Oh, I'm in Greece. Why did I think I was in Turkey? I thought I was over here when we dropped down. I'm in a Greek monastery. Ah. Okay. I dig it. Right on. Excellent. Does your... can't read. Don sees your shadem. I have nothing to say except hang in there from one adjunct to another. Cheers. Okay. Michael Steegs Houston, do you think AMC Ape will pop before AMC and GME? Ape had some crazy numbers come out. I tweeted earlier, I guess 481% short. That suggests 3 billion shares short. Oops. Because I think the brokers just, if they didn't have the shares, they just made synthetics and then are like, put the clock on. You got to replace these synthetics with something real. So it's really, 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 really short. Really short. So we might see some pressure from Ape, which is going to drive everything else. Because if they're being forced to buy Ape and they can't, they're going to be forced to close their positions in general. Because if they're short on Ape, they're short on AMC. If they're short on AMC, they're short on Ape. So those suckers go together. Because if you shorted AMC share 5 months ago, you owe both now. And there you go. Jess from Dax. Man, guys, now, see, I didn't get coordinates last show, and now you guys are just nothing but coordinates today. Bam. Not very far away. Italy? Where are I? Oh, swastika houses. What the hell? Why do people keep building this crap? That's not cool. That's like way too many of those things. That's not cool at all. Heel of Italy. You should know better than that. I don't like that. Paraterm, Houston, wondering what your socioeconomic opinion on what I deemed an incredibly harmful practice that could eventually tank everything we know, the Bean War. Their war is so destructive. There's a bean war? I just think beans for breakfast is a terrible idea. But is there a war now between such beans? Meow meow. I have the attention span of a squirrel with all the nakeds and FTDs on Be Big. Can you explain the mechanics of how T plus 90 might happen? If they didn't close, they'll be forced to. What is Be Big? I haven't looked at Be Big in weeks. What are they at right now? Be Big. It's over $1. Still a really, really far away from where I bought in. It was June 27th was when the stocks went. I thought it was like May 27th, but everything just kind of blends together, and I can't remember my dates. So it's June 27th when the Tide shares went out. So then it's July 27th, August 27th, September 27th. So somewhere at the end of this month, if it is as shorted as it was last fall, shorted 230% reported last fall. But the stock price has plummeted since then, right? This price last fall, the stock was at like $14. Now it's at $1. So it's easy right now for those shorts to cover or close their positions if they haven't done so already. So you might see a little bit of a price jump, but the price has been in the dirt for so long. We'll see if they learn their lesson from that they didn't from AMC and GME when the price is $1. They're just close your position and be happy. Pay taxes on your profit and get out. But if there's forced buying all of a sudden all at once, then we could see some pop. But that would be September 27th or somewhere in about there. The T plus 90 on that. I totally thought it was August because I thought it was in May that they'd come out, but again, everything just blends together. Chad Clifford, Houston, happy birthday. I'm sick in bed as all get out. But it's not COVID. According to my COVID test, now I got something to watch where I can learn something new before I die. It might be COVID. Because if you're doing home tests, the BA5 oftentimes is not testing positive on the home tests. So it's very possible it could still be COVID. I'm signed up for my updated booster in 2 weeks. I mean, I think I got BA4 and 5 in June, but, whatever. Stab me, I don't care. Dog Toggler, Dylan Francis, happy birthday. What's up with your lizard brains, man? They're fine. I'm trying my best to suppress any lizard brain activity best I can, because the lizard just is reactive, and I want to be introspective if I can. Paraturn, thoughts on the possibility of life within the Milky Way, but our inability to see near the center stars keep us from seeing them, but they can clearly see us. Okay. Maybe they can see us. This might have to I have to draw so you guys can new blank page. There we go. I need to go back to that. Take you off. Put you back on. Nope. Come on, Google Earth. You're supposed to go away. There we go. Okay. So, got ourselves le painting. And click on the brushes. Got brushes going. Okay, so Milky Way is a spiral. It's got the galactic center, so Sagittarius A is, and then a whole bunch of just really dense stars in the middle. And kind of talked about last show. If you look at it side on, it's like sort of, I don't know, like a sombrero. Bulge in the middle. And then the arms where we live out in the hinterlands. And what we can see is basically, we can see an okay distance, probably like that. Like that's probably the region we can see pretty well of our galaxy. Well, we can see these guys too. But there's, for the most part, there's like a cone that we can see. when looking through the galaxy, imagine it as if like you have a record or a frisbee or something, right? Like it's thin, and you turn it one way, you can see like everything. You turn it another way, you can't see through the plastic that's in the edge of that film, like in lens cap here. Like you can see everything in the lens cap, but if you wanted to look here, trying to look through the galaxy, you cannot see it. You can infer that it's there, but you can't see it. Our galaxy is the same way. When we look through the galaxy, we end up hitting so much gas and dust that eventually it obscures our vision of what's behind that. And we can penetrate it with some wavelengths, like infrared and radar. We can penetrate some of that gas and dust because some of those wavelengths make it through. But for the most part, we have no idea, absolutely zero idea, of what's happening over here. This is a complete mystery to us because we cannot penetrate where the black hole is and this huge bulge, right here. Like we're over here, we can't see anything over here, and so that limits what we can see. Now, here's the thing: is we have only been broadcasting radio signals for a little more than 100 years, and television signals since 1936, which is the biggest bummer because the first television broadcast ever was Hitler at the 1936 Olympics. And so our ambassador, this wave of ambassador that's made it now 86 years out into space, 86 light years away, let's say, like there is just a wave of Hitler broadcasting through space. Now, there could be someone over here, right? They're way over here, they're living conjointly with us, and they have no idea we exist. Because if they look back in time, I don't know, 20, 30,000 light years to see us, all they would see is an ice age and maybe some like cavemen. They literally could not know we were there because we weren't broadcasting our existence. Only people within this little 86 light year ring, around us, 86 light year ring around us, could know where we exist. So they could exist the same time as us. We exist the same time as them. They're broadcasting. Maybe they'll say they broadcasted for 1,000 years, right? They broadcasted 1,000 years out. Well, we don't know they exist yet because we haven't seen them. And we blink out of existence because we, push Putin's buttons too far and he pushes the button and we no longer exist. Well, this 86 light year thick ring goes through the universe, and in 20,000 years, this society, like, oh my gosh, they exist. And so they send a bunch of people out and they find just a nuclear wasteland. They go, oh man. Or vice versa. They broadcasted for 1,000 years and then they died. And so now there's 1,000-year wide ring of information going out. By the time it hits us in 19,000 years or whatever, we go, oh boy, we send an expedition out and we just find, a nuclear wasteland or whatever. So the whole Drake equation is basically calculating the likelihood of two civilizations existing close enough to each other at the same time to be able to read each other's signals. And that likelihood is very low. It's about one civilization per galaxy per 10,000 years is the current estimation. So the likelihood of two of them existing at the same time are pretty low. Now, with enough galaxies in the universe, there's probably are galaxies out there that might have two of them existing at the same time, but we won't know it because they're so far away that we can only look back billions of years to see those galaxies, and we won't see the evolution of those smart creatures out there. So there you go. Houston's amazing drawing abilities with his mouse. I got my new wireless mouse, and the thing only lasts for 10 minutes. I can't figure out why it won't charge for like more than 10 minutes, and it's driving me up the wall. We drive up the wall wireless mouse that I got for $11. Michael Steegs, Houston SC and Webull, they moved and are offering end date for no labs is 9/15. Okay, so Webull is now, that must mean it must be available on the other apps that don't have OTC access. So it's coming. Daniel Motes, Houston, happy birthday. Revlon hasn't moved up or down in a few weeks, even though they lost their court case for keeping the $500 million. Good sign. They lost their case? I hadn't read that. That is news to me. Revlon loses court case. 500 million. City wins appeal. Oh, 6 days ago. Holy crap, how did I miss that 6 days ago? That's probably because I was kicked off of Twitter and I wasn't reading any news. Yeah, okay. All right, so interesting. Revlon did fall a little bit on that day, but they're still super shorted. So there's the mechanical short is there, and people are going to wear more makeup coming up. So all right, see where it goes. I mean, my calls have like not budged. They've been the same the whole time. So they've been just sitting at like 110 or something. They've not moved. Why am I? Oh, you guys can't see what I'm looking. You're still looking at my crappy picture. P. Kumar, Houston, good to see you. Back on Twitter. Question: if AMC, APE, and GME Splividend don't cause MOAS, do you believe we will still see MOAS due to global economic factors? Yeah. APE and the Splividend seem like they're both timed specifically for the market to just have the bottom fall out this fall. I think the U.S. government is dipping into the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in a huge way to try and keep oil prices down, which means they're eventually going to have to buy a whole bunch of oil to recoup that Strategic Reserve. But I think the government is counting on sort of the economy collapsing, and when the economy collapses, the price of oil just falls, and that they can go back in. Basically, they're shorting oil right now. Is the way I see the U.S. government doing is they're getting rid of everything in Strategic Reserve and selling that basically for $90 a barrel, and then come March when they got to recoup, oil might be $20 a barrel, and they're gonna go save themselves a bunch of money. That's what I think that they might be counting on. And they're hoping that they have enough in the reserves that they can keep putting out there to keep prices down through the election. And then everything collapses and the U.S. government actually might make a killing off of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. It's kind of smart. Sell when it's high, buy it back in when it's low. If you'll remember, August 2008, gas was $4 a gallon. March 2009, gas was like $1.25 a gallon. So if it did a big fall when everyone finally just threw up their hands like, yep, the economy's screwed, welcome to the Great Recession. We are but mere weeks away from everyone going, the economy's screwed, welcome to the Great Recession 2.0, Greatest Depression, whatever you want to call it. We're getting there. Housing prices too high, oil prices too high. We've got still logistics problems happening everywhere. We've got China about to collapse. We've got a railroad strike that's about to happen. Started on tomorrow or Friday. Railroad strike is going to happen. And I will say this: back your railroad workers. Did you know that railroad workers don't get time off? They get 30 days a year. They don't get weekends. They're on call 24/7. They have no fixed schedule. They get 30 days off a year. They get 3 weeks of vacation at some point and 9 personal days, which means you have to plan for like if your Aunt Betty's going to die because you don't get any time off. And the rest of the time you are on call or working 24/7. So they have a really shitty contract and they want weekends. And I think people should have weekends. They should not be on call all the time. You, if you're working a normal 9-to-5 job, you have 104 days off just from weekends. So you get almost 4 times the days off as a railroad worker just because you get weekends and they don't. So so support your railroad workers. People should deserve time off, and they're going to bring this country to its knees quite easily. So much moves by rail, and the rail companies make $20 billion in profit a year, so they can afford to perhaps hire more folks so they don't have to give everybody weekends. But just get ready. If you thought inflation prices are going to hit hard, it's going to start affecting grain, coal, oil, all sorts of stuff that moves by rail. So then we got a shortage of truck drivers. They're gonna have to cave real quick. The U.S. government's probably gonna make them cave real quick. Peace.attack. What will the next 5 to 10 years look like for our climate? Anything to be optimistic about? Will there be a world left for us to spend our attendees? Optimistic? No. Not in the least. It's only going to get worse in the next 5 to 10 years. The technology that will come online to make it better is probably 15 to 20 years out. Probably closer to 20, because I bet within 15 we will have colonies on the moon mining helium-3, but we won't have the infrastructure to do anything about the helium-3 probably for 20 years. We aren't building carbon capture systems right now. We aren't planting trees. We are burning stuff still. And until we stop burning things, it's only going to get worse. Not only do we stop burning things, we have to stop burning things, we have to reach into the atmosphere, gather up everything that's bad that we put into it, and stuff it back inside the crust of the earth. So, if we don't start now, and in 3 years have 10,000 of those carbon capture machines going around the world, nothing. It's going to be worse. We're seeing more flash flooding in major cities, more major droughts, entire regions getting arid, topsoils washing away, mega storms. I mean, if you got your attendees, then at least you'll be able to afford air conditioning during that time. So there's that. But the opportunity to spend that money on ski chalets and enjoy the winters are going to get shorter and shorter and shorter until they don't exist anymore. You know what I just realized? I did not take my allergy medicine. I had to go do that. One sec, because I feel like my ears are plugged. One sec. All right, Zyrtec, baby. There we go. That'll work in an hour. Okay. Where am I? Where was I? That was... Okay. That was the Revlon one. That was... okay. Great. Houston, can you explain again what happens if the economy continues to crash this fall, winter, and what does that mean for AMC GME? Okay, so if you are a short hedge fund, your clients give you money. Each client has to give you a minimum of $1 million to join the hedge fund. There are some hedge funds that control $20 billion in assets, and they've got like 10 members. So each one of those people are giving them billions of dollars to be a member of the hedge fund. And the hedge fund takes that money and they buy bonds and blue chip stocks with it. And they buy those $20 billion of bonds, blue chip stocks, and then they use that as collateral to borrow from big investment banks, prime brokers, whatnot, and make plays. So they got their solid assets, and then they borrow a whole bunch of money at a rate of up to 30 to 1. So if you're a $20 billion hedge fund, you have $20 billion in assets, you could be playing with $600 billion in borrowed money. 30 to 1. Absolutely bonkers. So if you are Melvin, it was a $20 billion hedge fund January 2021 and is now a non-existent hedge fund, they could have been playing with up to $600 billion in borrowed money to do their shorts. So they use this borrowed money, they borrow stock or whatever, and then they sell it, and they hope the price is going to drop, and they go back in, they scoop up that stock and return what they need and keep the profit, and then their short hedge fund folks get the winnings from it. This worked great for 30 years, and now it's not working so great anymore because the stock prices aren't going down on these shorted companies because we are going, fuck you, I'm keeping it. I'm not going to sell. And they go, oh no, and their hedge funds are collapsing. Now, they're losing money big time on their hedge funds. What's happening now is that the overall market, those blue chip stocks they have are starting to drop, and bond prices are starting to drop. And in order to entice bond buyers, the interest rates are going up. Oh, hush. Big dog, people are allowed to live here. It's okay. And so the assets under management, which were at, say, $20 billion, all of a sudden might be at $16 billion or $12 billion because the assets have shrunk in value compared to their liabilities, which have grown in value. Because if you borrow money, let's say you borrow $1 billion to short a stock at $10, right? And that stock is now $20. That $1 billion you borrowed is now $2 billion. So your assets are dropping and your liabilities are growing, and there's getting to be a huge disparity between the two that are greater than that 30-to-1 limit. And if that happens, you get margin called. Your bank calls and goes, hey, buddy, find some more money, sell some shit, figure out what's going on, close some positions because you are beyond your limit. And the hedge fund goes, panic button, and they figure they dump a bunch of crypto. They do something to, they pump and dump something so their assets go up, and they finally get back to that 31 ratio and go, whew, okay, we survived another day. And the next day, the stock price of Walmart collapses and their portfolio drops $1 billion, and they get that phone call again. Hey, you're underwater again. Figure it out. And they go, oh my gosh, and they sell a bunch of Bitcoin or whatever. And so that's kind of what's been happening for the last year and a half. Now, this fall, if the bottom falls out of the market entirely, that means the price of everything is going to drop. The value of everything drops. And there's going to be a credit crunch and a liquidity crunch, meaning there's not going to be cash available for these hedge funds to make some of their plays that they do to try and stay above water. And they're going to start losing out on the manipulation that they can do. So let's say it gets to November and a big bank goes under. Let's say Wells Fargo or Credit Suisse or something. Just blink is gone because of the energy crisis, because of the food crisis, because of inflation, whatever. Some reason a big institution just doink is done. Now, that can cause a chain reaction all the way down the line, meaning anyone that borrowed from them, that liability is going to get passed on to whoever collects the assets of the bank. They're going to reanalyze everything out there. If you happen to have Credit Suisse or Wells Fargo stock in your assets and the company doesn't exist anymore, then all of that stock is down to zero, not worth anything, and you can't recover that. It's gone. You can't sell it to anybody, whatever. So now they might get margin calls or say, hey, your assets have shrunk and your liabilities have grown. We're margin calling you. You've got 24 hours to figure your shit out or else we got to liquidate. And hedge fund goes, oh, let's try to panic. And they try to dump crypto or whatever and no one's buying because no one has any money. And they go, oh, shit, the price of this thing just plummeted some more. I am now more underwater 24 hours after I got told that I was going to be blinked out of existence. And 24 hours is up, and their prime broker comes along and starts liquidating, starts closing out positions. Well, the problem is, remember, it's a 30-to-1 for these groups. So they've got $20 billion in assets, but $600 billion in liabilities. They sell those $20 billion in stocks and bonds or whatever, and they've only paid off $20 billion of these $600 billion they owe. So they owe another $580 billion in losses for the prime broker, for Goldman Sachs or Nomura or JP Morgan or whatever. Now, can a JP Morgan survive a one-time $580 billion loss? Absolutely not. They do not have the cash on hand to handle that. They are done. So boom, another investment bank just went under, right? And pretty soon, everyone else is going under all over the place. Why? Because these hedge funds don't just borrow from one bank, they borrow from other banks. And they're dumping stock onto the market to try and close these positions, right? And if they're dumping stock into the market, billions and tens of billions of dollars at a time, it's going to cause the price to collapse, which is why they came up with that OCC rule where these hedge funds can get a loan, a cash loan. They just have to give over all of their assets and they get this loan. And it's to stall the dumping of all those assets into the market and collapsing the price further from there. So, as the assets under management fall, we're going to see them starting to run out of their little tricks they use to keep themselves afloat. And when one of those big institutions, when one of those big hedge funds run out of tricks finally and they're done, then it's just going to be dominoes. They're all going to start falling because they're all in the same position. They all short the same stocks. They all do exactly what each other do. They're all tied to each other. They all swap debts with each other. They are just the same freaking cookie cutout over and over and over again, and they're all in the same boat, and there's just too many of them. So I don't know how many hedge funds are going to survive this or how many family funds. But I think this comeuppance is going to be a big one for a lot of them. It's going to just kind of wipe the slate clean for a while from these short hedge funds. And the government and regulators are going to have to figure out a way to keep a situation like this from ever happening again. Okay. Where was I? That was... Okay. Danny Motes, do you know what the difference is between a garbanzo bean and a chickpea is? I've never had a garbanzo bean on my face. Oh. Reminds me of the difference between jam and jelly joke. Alright. Beach bum. Okay, somewhere tropical or subtropical. 73 degrees west. Is that Florida? Where are we going to go? Oh, go away. Terrible picture. Come back, Google Earth. There we go. Let's go across the Atlantic. Boom. Get the shitting hairs on my face. Are we Bahamas? Where are we? Oh, airplane. Airplane underwater. Am I in the Bahamas? Yes. No. This is the Bahamas. This is Turks and Caicos. This is part of the Bahamas. This is part of Turks and Caicos. I think it's Bahamas. So, we've got a plane underwater. It's a big plane to be underwater there. What plane is that? How come it's not marked? You'd think there'd be a Wikipedia article for that airplane. It's a decent sized plane. Doesn't look too small. I do like that. That is cool. How deep is that water? I don't know. Huh. Huh. Beach bum, I like that one. I wonder what plane that is. I wants to know. Crooked Island. Goodwill Settlement. I like it. Hoshi Gaming. Do you know of any airline that flies to Hawaii, Honolulu that will let me take a dog in the cabin? Absolutely not. I don't want to go under the plane because she's 14, gets nervous without me. You cannot take a dog to Hawaii without it going to quarantine. So, you won't be able to do that. It's no longer a 6-month quarantine. Now you can get all the shots, prove they have the shots, and I think it's short down to 2 or 3 weeks. But it will have to go to quarantine, and we'll have to travel under the cabin. You might be able to get away with it if you've got enough money for a private plane and you can sneak a dog on there or something. But no, Hawaii's not going to let you take an animal into Hawaii that won't go through quarantine. So it's going to be under the seat. Sorry, man. That's just the way it works. Meow meow. If MOAS happens, you might end up a celebrity, as I think you'll get a lot of phone calls from the media. It's possible. I'm a niche internet micro celebrity as it stands right now, and I'm happy with that. My roommate and I are talking. I'd like to do, because I like doing interviews. I like being able to talk with people, but also like to be able to branch out from just the financial sphere we're in and talk about other things. So I might launch a Zoom talk show, and I think of calling it Houston We Have a Talk Show. Maybe once a week, see if I can bring in someone interesting in, just talk about whatever. Could be an actor, a politician, a titan of industry, someone who does crazy volunteer work or survival story. I don't know. But I'd like to be able to have more people on that are, broaden our subject. So, did you guys watch that? If I did it, Houston, we have a talk show. See if we can get some other folks in here and just chat with folks. I don't know. Thought of an idea. Andrew Stewart rock. I am rocking. This is another Andrew Stewart shirt. I'm rocking it because I'm actually out of hangers. I have so many shirts. I've run out of hangers, and the Andrew Stewart shirts are just stacked on the desk next to me. So probably be an Andrew Stewart shirt on Friday as well. So I'm just like, well, might as well wear this one since it's right there. I need to go to like Rite Aid and get some more hangers because I'm out. I've got 700 plus hangers used, and I have no more. They're all gone. Yeah, right, Big Doug. You think so? You know, he's like, yeah, get some hangers, dude. Why are you putting your shirts on a desk? Okay. Prontal, Houston, could you please explain the Coriolis effect and how it affects weather over the globe? Okay, we can do that. We'll bring the Earth up and just show the globe here for a sec. Okay, so got ourselves the globe, and if we look at it where the equator is, goes through Ecuador. Equator is about right about there. Okay, so the Earth spins and it rotates this way. Sorry, rotates. I'm rotating the wrong way. Rotates towards the east, so the sun rises over here and then it sets in the west. So it rotates, and it rotates at the equator at about 1,000 miles an hour, or 1,600 kilometers per hour. And it rotates and it rotates and it rotates and it rotates and it rotates, and does it so every day, every day, every day. Now, if you are, say, in Equatorial Guinea, and you are a human being, you won't feel the Earth rotate because you are also rotating at 1,000 miles an hour. Now, if I suddenly transported you from Equatorial Guinea to Paris, France, just like in a blink of an instant, your momentum, which is traveling 1,000 miles an hour, is now being transported to a spot on Earth that's rotating at, I don't know, 600 miles an hour, maybe. So that means your momentum is 400 miles an hour faster than the momentum of everywhere in Paris, France. And so you are going to slap into a wall at 400 miles an hour because you're carrying the momentum with you. Now, vice versa. If you're Paris, France, you suddenly get transported to the equator, everything in Equatorial Guinea is going to slap into you at 400 miles an hour because that's how much momentum it's carrying with it. So if you are an air mass somewhere along the equator and you move further north, you carry that momentum with you, which means you're going to travel a little faster than the rest of the air in the area. So you're going to start to spin forward compared to everything else. So you start to get the spinning factor. And if you are an air mass that's up north and you move south, you are going to be traveling slower, which means you're going to get hit with air that has more momentum, and you're going to have it's going to result in a spinning motion as well. So that's the Coriolis force. Now, in World War I, the big Bertha and mega guns and stuff that they made, and they had these just giant artillery cannons that could shoot so freakishly far, 70, 100 miles, however far it could shoot. They had to count, if they're shooting north or south, they had to account for the fact that the momentum of the lateral momentum of their projectile had one speed, and the Earth was rotating another speed where they got, and they had to actually calculate the Coriolis effect for basically leading the object that they're going to hit, because the Earth is going to rotate under the bullet while they're shooting. So that's the basis of the Coriolis force, is that everything at different latitudes carries different momentum compared to the latitudes above and below them. And there, that's the easiest, quickest way I can explain the Coriolis force. The Coriolis effect. It's not really force, it's effect. Houston, I know you don't drink alcohol, but you ever tried non-alcoholic beer to see what it tastes like? No. I did have somebody spit beer in my face once, and that's how I tasted beer. So, yeah, that's beer I tasted. I also accidentally had wine when I was a kid because I thought it was my Martinelli sparkling apple cider. And I accidentally drank a fortified root beer. I was on a road trip. I was in Missoula, Montana, late at night, and there was nothing open except a gas station, so I got some chicken tenders and root beer. And it turns out it was fortified root beer, and it kind of tasted like how homeless people smell. It was not Good. It said the best damn root beer, and it was not the best damn root beer. It was damn root beer. Was what it was. Beach Bum. What's your response to people who imply the MOAS was over with back in January 2021? Then why did GameStop hit 350 twice after that if it was over? Excuse me. It's not over. They have not closed anything. If they closed stuff, the price would be at 0 right now, but they didn't. So they haven't. So it's still going. Still, that's the simplest way. Excuse me, I got the hiccups now. BBR Germany. Adam Aaron talks that retail owns more than 80% for more than a year. How could this be possible? There are thousands of brokers, banks, nobody gives numbers. What if we own just 30%? I think because of how people voted. That when people vote their shares, they can count how many votes came from retail. I think that's how they did their census. So there are lots of banks. There are lots of people that own stuff out there. And my guess is because the banks and funds and stuff report they own way more than just 20%. Insiders don't really own much at all. But that's why there's a short. That's the best way I can describe it. That's why there's a short squeeze going on, because there's more shares out there than should be. Citizen 54, NASA wants to create a permanent base on the moon. Thoughts on what it would take to achieve this? A lot of trips to the moon. We can probably set up something that would allow people to survive for weeks at a time before the next group came. But we're going to need more trips to the moon to build up infrastructure. So, we probably have multiple launches of rockets without people on them, just to bring stuff to the surface of the moon, to bring pieces of habitat, to bring vehicles, machines, air recyclers, arable soil, weird things like that. And that stuff gets amassed, gets collected in wherever the settlement area is going to be. And then you send people and robots, and they build the habitats. They might have, they might have to survive in the little lander for a few days or weeks while they build the other habitats and get, atriums and stuff built. It's going to take a lot, huge investment. I bet with 50 or 100 heavy launch rockets, you could probably have enough stuff there to maybe have 50 or 100 people permanently residing on the moon, doing whatever work they need to do. From there, you're going to have to get giant mining machines. These big harvesters are going to scoop up the dust on the surface of the moon, jiggle out all the helium, take out the rare earths and anything else. You can probably get metals out of the regolithic rock. And you can, when you are going to go smelt that regolith, you can pull out aluminum and get oxygen out of it as well. So you don't have to worry about recycling oxygen as much as you did before. And you can make larger habitats because byproduct of mining that aluminum will create oxygen. And so then now all of a sudden you've got lots of metals available. You're going to have lots of helium-3, so you can have fusion reactors with plenty of energy to be able to smelt that aluminum and make structures out of it. You can turn sand into glass. You can do lots of things. It's going to take a while before that industry is up and running, but for the most part, it can be fairly self-sufficient because you've got plenty of ore and plenty of energy. What you won't have necessarily is people and food. Because remember, each side of the moon's only has sunlight for 2 weeks at a time. So if you're growing stuff, you're going to need to have grow lamps and all sorts of stuff going, because for 2 weeks of the month you have no sunlight, and for also 2 weeks of the month the surface of the moon is like 150 degrees, so it's really, really hot. So lots of insulation for when it's cold, lots of insulation for when it's hot, and air conditioning and whatnot for both. You also will need to have a setup to be able to build your own moon suits. You can't rely on the Earth bringing them, because that lunar dust is basically tiny microscopic shards of glass, and they get into everything. They start cutting fabric fibers, and so if you are in a spacesuit climbing around the moon, there's a lifespan to it, because a tiny little glass gets into everything and starts slicing it all up. So the suits can wear out really quickly. So I bet in 20 years we can have a significant size. I mean, significant mean that we're mining ore. We've got somewhat self-sufficient population there on the moon, and having regular transport back and forth. 20 years, if we do it right. If we don't, this coming economic collapse may throw a whole wrench in the whole gear, but assuming that the economic collapse does not affect our ability to launch stuff into space, 20 years or so. Within 50 years, we will probably have entire societies on the moon at that pace. And now remember, a lot can happen in 20 years, and a lot cannot happen in 20 years. 20 years ago, we were talking about having permanent colonies on the moon, and we have not done it yet. So, because every president that comes in basically rewrites the entire mission statement for NASA, and every single friggin' 4 years, someone comes in and just throws NASA into an upheaval, and we have a real hard time staying on task. So, but if we stay on task, we can do that. And that's what I think. Okay. I missed some super chats while I was. Andrew Stewart says, rocking a white shirt. Yes, I am. Where was I? Meow Meow. Have you ever watched Sam Harris? He's had debates with Jordan Peterson. He seems ultra brilliant. I have watched Sam Harris. He is a very outspoken atheist. He's in that documentary I talked about, The God Who Wasn't There. He is one of the people interviewed in there. He is, I'm not particularly religious. Anyone who's a fundamentalist, a zealot, I will gladly take on, because I don't believe in zealotry. But if you want to be religious, be religious. Do your thing. Live your life. Just don't live in a way that hurts people. I mean, I'm cool. If you use your religious perspective for helping others, loving others, being good, do your thing. All right? Have more to it. But if you're using your religion as an excuse to hurt people, no. To oppress people, no. To be a bigot, absolutely not. Don't do that. Sometimes Sam Harris comes across as a bit of an atheist bigot, in that he doesn't think anyone of any religion is redeemable or worthwhile. He does attribute or assume that everybody who's Muslim is an Islamist, which is not the case at all. And I have issues with that. He's very knowledgeable. He's very smart. He's very tuned. He's read tons. But I've known too many moderate and liberal people of all religions to ascribe something like Islamic zealotry and fundamentalism to the whole of the Islamic world. That's not the case at all. So that's my one issue with Sam Harris. If he was willing to come on for Houston Web Talk Show, I would gladly interview him and talk to him about that. But that's my one beef with him. Obama Bean. Oh, message deleted. I have no idea what you wrote, Obama Bean. But if you want to throw something else in there, I'll try to read it. Sorry. Oh, crap. course, it just does the reset. Every single time I scroll, and then just resets, and I scroll again, and then it goes all the way back to the bottom, and I try to... oh crap, I just lost the reset, and I just lost like 30 minutes of the chat. Meow meow. I didn't believe until my friend died, and he came to me in a dream and showed me the next day. They happened as he showed it to me. Very scary. There are ways people are connected. Like, have you ever had a moment where someone you hadn't thought about in years, and all of a sudden they just blinked into your brain? You're like, oh, I wonder what Tom's up to. And you find out that like the next day that Tom died right around the time he just popped into your head. There are moments like that, definitely. There is connectivity in humanity that I cannot explain, and science has yet to find a way to explain it. And it pushes me more towards the agnostic side of things, and that I don't know what I don't know, so I can't explain it. So I'm not going to try until I have an answer for it. But I'm not going to ascribe just like wonder and magic to it. There's always something behind everything, and so that's But yeah, that's weird, meow meow. That's a very weird experience, and I'm sure other people have had similar experiences like that, for sure. Yogi needed a workplace safety sign indicating how many shows without a second intro and how many without an eye of Africa. Gah! Vegata de Luffy, or Vegata de Luffy. Houston, what's the name of the type of machine HYMC needs to boost gold silver production? You mentioned it a couple of lives before. I was trying to explain to my brother about it. It's not a machine, it's a whole series of machines. It's called a metallurgical facility or metallurgical plant. Essentially, if the gold is trapped inside of sulfide ores, think like fool's gold, pyrite, stuff like that, in that realm, that pyrite likes to really have its grip on stuff and likes to mess up the ability to break down metals that might be trapped inside there. So, like, one of the ways that you can separate gold from things is with acid baths. So you can take nitric acid, you can put everything in a nitric acid, and everything except the gold will dissolve. And you take that gold and you filter it out and you put it into now an aqua regia, which is a mixture of nitric acid and hydrochloric acid. And then the gold will dissolve from that and leave behind impurities, something like lead, things like that. Well, actually, lead can kind of mess it up. But other impurities, that ceramics and things that might be in with that. And then you can create a condensate, precipitate, and pull that gold back out again out of that acid, and get your gold back. Well, the problem is that if you have sulfur-rich material, you put that stuff in nitric acid, the sulfur doesn't break down, and the gold doesn't break down. So then you put it in aqua regia, and then both of them break down. And then you try to reconstitute it to use a precipitate to bring the gold out, and it brings both out again, and you're now stuck with gold mixed with sulfur all over again. So you need to start having big machines that have these processes that put weird oxidizers through it to pull sulfur out, different types of stuff, and it will start pulling out all sorts of different impurities out of the metals each step of the way. So you can start getting your copper out and your silver out and your zinc out, and then eventually your gold. And so it's this big kind of system that goes, okay, stage one, we're going to pull out all this particular impurity, all this iron. So pull out all the iron. Next step, okay, now we're going to try to pull out all the lead. So pull out all the lead. Next step, okay, now we're going to try and pull out all of the silver. Pull the silver. Okay, now we're going to try to pull out all the sulfur. So pull out the sulfur. And so on. So each step of the way in this metallurgical facility is going to have multiple machines going with acid baths, cyanide, weird chemical treatments, oxidizers, all sorts of weird stuff that you're going to have, blowing across this material to try and pull out each impurity along the way. And eventually, you get left with your gold, you get left with your silver, and anything else that gets dumped into your slag pile. And that's the facility. And they're very big and they're very expensive. And they have to handle a lot of material very quickly. because you're just dumping truckloads. I mean, at the numbers that HYMC said that they had in their drills, which is really high. They're saying 3.77 grams per ton of gold and 30 grams of silver per ton, which is about $7,000 to $8,000 per ton of rock. I have no idea how previous owners of that property missed $7,000 to $8,000 per ton, but one giant open pit front loader scoop does 75 tons. So you're looking at $600,000 per scoop of just raw gold and silver. I don't know how you missed that. Okay, so you have this amount of gold. Okay, each 75 tons is a lot of material. That's 75 basically cubic meters of material. And you're dumping that stuff into the back of a truck 3 or 4 times. That truck is now carrying several 100,000 tons of material and then dumping it into a rock smasher, big old grinder, and smashing up all the rocks, crushing to pieces into just powder paint. And you're sticking that sucker through a system that's now going to be mixing with water and all these chemicals. And you have to move that every truckload. So it might take 5 front loader loads to fill up that truck. And that truck is doing one trip every 30 minutes. You have to have a huge facility to process that much ore. And they don't have it. So that's the thing they need to invest in. And they need a lot of money to do it. And they don't have the funds available to do that. So that's what they're looking for. Huge facility. It's going to take a year or 2 to build that facility when they do get the money. So they'll probably have to do another stock offering or take out a giant loan to be able to get a facility like that. Or bring on some, sleeper investor that we don't see coming. Girk's Ice Cream Danwich. Why would GME take their shares off the market and not attract any institutions to invest? Why do they need institutions to invest? They've got money. They've got their system. They have retail who are absolutely rabid and crazy and refuse to let go, keeping them afloat. They don't need them at the moment. They are an institution, especially if they pull their shares off and put them into their own trading platform. And if that's the case, if they become an institution, here, get this. Because in 08-09, all of these hedge funds turned on the hands that feed them and started shorting their prime brokers. They started shorting Bear Stearns. They started shorting Lehman Brothers. Started shorting Goldman Sachs. And when Lehman Brothers and Goldman Sachs went under, Lehman Brothers and Bear Stearns went under, Goldman Sachs was about to go under as well. And they lobbied Congress to make it against the law to naked short banks and institutions. So, just put it out there. If GameStop launches a stock brokerage that's blockchained, they will now be a financial institution and it will be illegal to short them. You will not be able to short them anymore. It'll be against the law. And you won't be able to anyway because it'll be blockchain. So there you go. Dan Batchelor, Houston Quantum Leap trailer launched for a movie or TV show. I love me some old Quantum Leap. I love Dean Stockwell. May he rest in peace. He's a wonderful dude. Yeah. Citizen 54, Houston, do you think the rail strike could collapse the economy setting off MOAS? It certainly can't help the economy. They're saying $2 billion a day if the rail strike happens. So that's $60 billion a month in losses to the economy. A lot of grain, a lot of corn, a lot of coal, a lot of oil, all move on those rail lines. The price of lumber already bottomed out, so lumber may not be a concern. But yeah, it's not going to help. It's going to make the price of things go up, and shipping is going to take longer, and it's going to be trading companies need to just go, okay, you guys can have weekends. We will pay extra money to hire more people because we need to keep this stuff flowing. They're not going to do well with a strike at all. Cameron Mirza, is something happening on the 23rd? People are being told to transfer your ape shares or they will be sold. I have heard nothing about that. That sounds like some made-up hoo-ha. Yeah. Lost Waves, FTX getting acquired by GME. I think they're in a partnership. I don't think anyone's acquiring anything with FTX. I think they're partnering together on their GameStop platform. Meanwhile, those are the hanging monasteries of Meteora. It's a monasteries visited in Greece. Aaron Salentine, hey Houston, question. Does the stock trade 3 times over the float and still go down even when FTDs were due today on AVCT? The stock had a 5.8 million share buy order early in the morning, then nothing. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? They had a whole bunch of FTDs due today and the stock price dropped a penny. Down to like 18 cents or something. Something is afoot. And I don't trust it. That's what I have to say. G Immortal, what's your opinion regarding Citadel's MRO1 forms collateral? I haven't seen the updates on those. Where are you? Forms, MRO1, regulation, Citadel Securities. That's August 23rd. This might be the updated one. Details change. Oh, you guys can't see what I'm doing because I am... Come on. This is UK, right? Is this them closing UK offices? Electronic copy instrument for application registration. Initial margin. They're just defining things. Quit defining things. Show me the meat. Show me. Don't define things. Just show me the meat. Jurisdiction. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Why? That was a whole bunch of nothing. Just define jurisdiction. Defining. Okay. Other provisions. I know that they are closing the European offices. Just defining like what courts are going to be jurisdictions. I don't know. I don't know what this one's about. Doesn't seem like much going on that sucker. I honestly don't know. I'm looking at deeper when my brain can read fine print. It's not in a fine print mood right now. You have to be like ready for fine print, and I'm not there. Aaron Salentine, Houston, HKD moves like $20 up on 123 buy order. That's insane. What you're thinking is happening. There aren't any shares that exist, so you can't. Everything's an FTD. So you can't hide it in dark pools. The Chinese have found a way to defeat our financial system, and they're doing it. It's pretty awesome. See how they're doing it, man. Okay. First The first purge, my doggo passed away today. Oh man, his name was Tucker. Black Labrador and Border Collie mix. Pour one out for my good boy. I'm on carpet, so I will pour one out in my mouth. But I'm sorry. It's brutal. Puppies? No, at least you're loved. You're tolerated. Okay. I'm not your friend. Of the 1,000 or so new followers of your channel, how many are left? Most of them. I think in the last 30 days I'm plus 400 or something. So, most of them. Yeah. Guitar stuff. Hi, Houston. What do you think of Cliff Mass? He is an excellent explainer of weather. He is a poor explainer of how to teach math. And he sometimes, for some reason, falls into the climate denier side of things. Then he'll have other climatologists point out that, like, hey, Cliff, you're kind of wrong on this for these many reasons. He'll be like, la 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 la. But when it comes to explaining like local weather phenomena in Northwest, Cliff Mass Weather Blog is awesome. He will break it down in beautiful things, but he will never attribute anything to climate change. So like the temperature hit 120 degrees last year, which is 17 degrees warmer than it had ever been in the Seattle area ever. And he won't be like, oh, this is obviously one of the effects of climate change. But like, oh, it's just a local weather phenomena. No, when you shatter the record by over 15%, that's a little more than just like a local phenomena. Especially when, you start setting records for the number of days at 90 degrees in the Northwest, which normally it's a sweet summer. It's like 75 and beautiful. And all of a sudden we're getting like 15 days at 90 degrees or more. That's weird. We don't do that here. And fires start to happen on the side of the mountains where fires don't happen because it's usually rainy and green and everything else. And he will not ascribe any of that to general climate change. He just is like, nope, just going to back out of that one, and I'm not going to blame general climate change for any of this. When even his own data he puts out is showing that the climate is changing. It's different than it was. Like, the climate was this way, and now it's this way, and it's completely changed. That is climate change. Nope, just local weather phenomena. But his blog is great for that local weather info, especially for like a day or two out when some like crazy storm is coming or something. He does a good job. Here's a local landmark RW had trouble finding the other night. So this is Seattle area. 122, 47 north. That's Seattle, man. Let's see here. Schwink. Oh, Russell Wilson. The end zone. That's it. The only CenturyLink is now Lumen Fields. That's an older photo. Yeah, he had a hard time finding the end zone, didn't he? RW Russell Wilson. That's funny. I'll take that. Seahawks totally surprised me. Was not expecting that. Hey, way to go, Geno Smith, man. Might as well, your first start in 8 years, you might as well have 120 quarterback rating in your first start. Mr. Lasuna, thoughts on Patagonia founder giving away company to trusts with mandate to tackle climate crisis? Fantastic. I taught with a guy, that's his uncle. This guy, Chris, that I taught with, that's his uncle growing up. And just cannot say more wonderful things about him. If you guys didn't know, the founder of Patagonia found himself as a reluctant billionaire, doesn't believe in billionaires, and so he donated every penny he has to create a trust that now owns Patagonia, and their entire job is to fight climate change. Which, I mean, we need someone to do it. We need to start changing the system entirely. So, excuse me. Jacob Buss. Well, thank you, Jacob Buss. Casey Chapman. Sorry I'm late, but have you talked about the SEC considering regulating crypto as a security? I've not talked about that yet. That is interesting. It should be regulated. The big fear, I think, is that if suddenly they allow crypto to be regulated as security, that might allow crypto to be used as collateral by these hedge funds, and suddenly it might be almost impossible to margin call any of them. They do have huge crypto holdings that they play with. They use margin on those crypto holdings, but they can't get margin from those crypto holdings, at least from prime brokers. They can get it from crypto exchanges, and even then the crypto exchanges are insane. They can let you do like 100 to 1 on your collateral, which is why so many, when Luna collapsed, so many crypto bros lost everything because they were trading on like 100 to 1 and gone. They got liquidated everything. There was 200,000 liquidations a day happening at one point. Absolutely just bonkers. So, why am I so yawny today? I got some good sleep. I don't know why I'm yawning. Those crypto bros, if they can now be hedge fund bros, and they're counting that towards their 30 to 1 for assets and margin, it might spell trouble for a lot of folks. It may result in a lot more margin being taken out, and then when crypto completely collapses, because let's face it, a lot of it are Ponzi schemes, at least the SEC will have regulatory ability to get the Department of Justice involved and whatnot on those rug pulls, but it might stall the collapse of the hedge funds, but make them even worse, if that makes sense. Mario Valdez somehow got blocked by your stalker. Well, he did something right. Everyone should either block him or get blocked by him. That's the best thing you can do. Are those cheap Mardi Gras beads on the bookcase? Yeah. I have a whole bunch of them that were hanging here, and yeah. I earned those. I showed nipple for those. Okay. Vizio guy, who would you rather pitch against, Hank Aaron or Sadahua O? Ooh, in the prime, I assume, for both of them. I would have loved to have seen Sadahua O play at the major league level. If you guys don't know Sadahua O, he is the true home run champion. 800 and something home runs in the Japanese leagues. From the 70s and 80s, I think is when his prime was playing. Man. I think I would rather pitch against Hank Aaron. I think I might stand a chance with Hank Aaron and my knuckleballs versus Sadahua O, who the Japanese pitching in the 70s and 80s was all about just crafty off-speed stuff, and he probably would just be used to it more than Hank Aaron was. But either of them would crush me. I don't think it would matter. I think I would just watch dinger after dinger go. Like, oh, well, that was that. Bam! Big-ass Mexican. Hey, did you see the charity about the guy who hauls water for animals because of the drought? I should be the next charity. I have not seen that charity. DM it to me. I'll check it out. I've not thought about this month's Charity Tuesday. And the problem is that all the great ideas people sent, they DM to me to my old account, and I can't remember a single one of them. So please send me Charity Tuesday ideas. We got 2 weeks. 2 weeks from yesterday for Charity Tuesday. BW brand spending $11 on a mouse may be the problem. Spend $45 on Logitech G903 and you'll have battery life for 2 months. Man, the Amazon reviews in this thing were like, this thing's so fantastic. It lasts for like 2 months and it charges for about 30 seconds and then goes, I'm not charging anymore. So I have to constantly like unplug and plug it back in again. It's very frustrating. Very frustrating. Ace Ventura, Trump normalize makeup for men or Rev is gonna rip. Orange. Okay. And chat just reset again. So let's try to get back to where we were. Hopefully I didn't lose a bunch of chats again, and I think I did lost a bunch of chats again. Dang it. Okay, so we're now 45 minutes behind because it just chopped off a whole bunch of chats. I apologize for that. People's talking about where I am. People are talking about Super Stonk being a cesspool. I mean, it's not, Super Stonk isn't as bad a cesspool as Facebook's version of Wall Street Bets. Those are some of the worst people I've ever interacted with in my entire life. They are finding a redeeming person in the Facebook Wall Street Bets is almost as impossible as finding something made in America in a Walmart. But same likelihood, man. It is bad. Oh, I know your friend. Sorry, Houston's right. Stupid quarantine rules. I guess the rules meant for inter-island. Yeah, if you were flying from one island to another with your dog, there are ones that will let you put the dog in the cabin. But if you're flying from mainland to Hawaii, no, I'm gonna have to do quarantine rules. BTV brand like the Godzilla in the window. There he is. He's giving me a head scratch. There. B2B brand look too much regulation and oppression. People will not continue to participate. I can see the same thing happen in something simple as YouTube chat. Oh, you're talking about Super Stonk? Yeah, Super Stonk sucks. They just suck. I mean, when Rensol, he was like, I'm out. You guys can have this shit. That was kind of when to put a fork in it. I mean, they got kicked out of Wall Street Bets. They made RGME. Shills took over. They made Super Stonk. Shills took over. It's just so cheap to pay for shills than it is to like pay for your obligations. They're gonna just keep paying for shills over and over and over again. Anthony G. Ortex on AMC and Ape. I don't know what the Ortex dates are for that. Anyone who knows? Let me know. I would love to see. Ace Ventura, Moonbase is going to be a disaster. Radiation. Oh, there's going to be tons of radiation. I mean, people are going to get sliced apart like crazy on the moon. But there's a lot of money to be made. So, you can get sliced apart with radiation on Mars and not make any money, or you get sliced apart on radiation on the moon and make quintillions of dollars. They're going to do on the moon. Why? Because China will take a whole bunch of poor people and throw them up there to die to make them a bunch of money because they don't care. They've got 1.3 billion of them. They can sacrifice several hundred million to go to the moon and have their DNA turned into jelly and make quintillions of dollars for the Chinese government. So that's what they're going to do. That's what it's all about. Is you go colonize somewhere, you make the poor people do the hard work for nothing. You let them die in the mines with silicosis and everything else, just like they did, during the pioneering days. And some guy with, big belly and a pocket watch and a monocle goes and counts his money. Chlamydia. Do you think somewhere out there has been a bean equivalent of President Zelensky leading a small bean nation to a spectacular gorilla bean victory over the aggressive fascistic fava bean invasion? What would be the Zelensky of beans? It's got to be a standard bean. Can't be too flashy, but it has to be funny as well as taken seriously, which is a very hard balance to get because, he was a professional comedian for years, and now he's an astute leader of a nation. What bean would fall into that category? Can't be a run-of-the-mill bean. Can't be your garbanzo, fava bean, soybean. Like, it has to be a special bean, just a special kind of bean. Man, Mexican jumping bean? Those are funny. Billy, behind in the stream, railroad update. 11 of 12 railroad contracts are ratified. The only one holding out will most likely cave if there is a break in service. It will be very short-lived. Okay, so it looks like they're so they're agreeing to a contract. Hopefully, it gives them some days off and regular schedules. Billy source, I'm a railroader. Well, there you go. Billy, thank you for letting us know. Dr. Spurgeon, the sturgeon surgeon. When the market crashes, one of these giant funds or banks is going to be the sacrificial lamb like Bear Stearns. The rest will be bailed out and business will continue as usual. That's usually how it happens. But a bunch of hedge funds will also just blink out of existence because they don't get bailouts. The banks will get bailouts for the liabilities the hedge funds have, but the hedge funds themselves, nope. That's why they got their offshore accounts somewhere where they're just dumping cash so that when they do get blinked out of existence, they've got some sort of parachute to nestle their fall. David Allen Grove, what about radiation exposure during prolonged stays on the moon? Like I said, it's going to happen. The habitats, well, in the end, the habitats will probably protect quite well against radiation. But in the meantime, they're going to be significant exposure while they're in temporary habitats and building things and in their moon suits and whatnot. It'll be pretty significant. And so a lot of people are going to probably get weird cancers and stuff. Anna Rulnick, Houston, what's your favorite menu item at Hardee's? Mike Lindell's phone? Heard you can get those there. Actually, we don't have Hardee's up here. So, isn't Hardee's and Carl's Jr. the same? There is a Carl's Jr. somewhere in Washington. I see their commercials, and I've heard there's one, but I've only been to one in California. But we don't have Hardee's up here at all. The one Carl's Jr. I went to was my brother and I had gone skiing at Bear Mountain. We stopped at Carl's Jr. and got burgers, and he proceeded to have the worst burps I've ever smelled in my entire life. And we were trapped in this car, and it was cold, so the windows weren't down, and he was just the stinkiest burps. If you're watching Gardner, those burps have stuck with me, 27 years later? I can still smell them when I think about it. They were horrible. Then between brain, he still knows Carl's Jr. See, that's never been to Hardee's out here. Still don't get the money. Houston, a problem. You're talking about HKD. I did already. I talked about HKD twice. I got there. I did it. You just ain't listening. Board Gamer, Houston finally caught alive with new student loan relief. If I have a $100,000 loan paying $1,000 a month, does part of my $1,000 go towards principal? Now still spending interest forever. Well, depending on if you are a Pell Grant recipient or not, you might be down to $80,000. My guess is you might not be meeting the payment of the principal. If you're just paying the minimum, especially, you're not touching the principal at all. You're not even covering the interest that month. So it's just growing and growing and growing. A friend of mine, she had scholarships. She had ended up taking out $22,000 in loans to pay for her time at Reed College, which is a very studious school. And over the last almost 20 years, she's paid off $34,000 of her $22,000 loan. And she still has $9,000 more to go. And at the current payment rate, if she didn't get forgiveness, she'd have paid $54,000 to pay off a $22,000 loan. So, when people talk about like, oh, I'm not forgiving their loans, they took out the loans, they need to pay them off. She's already paid it off. She's paid off her $22,000 loan plus $12,000 in interest on top of that loan, and still has another $9,000 in interest to go, which is going to cost her another $20,000 to do. So she's paid off her loans. Now she's just getting her usury forgiven. So it's just create a better system. Get people educated. We want a strong, powerful nation full of educated people who are doing smart, awesome things. Then you need to make it possible for them to go to school, to learn the things that they can be good at, to contribute to society, and then not be burdened the rest of their lives being slaves to the debt monster. So, the forgiveness of 10 to 20,000 in student loans is a fantastic start, but we need to upturn the entire system and make it so that people can, when they leave school, they aren't all of a sudden beholden to the banks immediately. It's a dumb system. Absolutely stupid. Just fix it. Make public college tuition free. Give people stipends to go to school. Let them graduate without a burden. Find jobs in their field or internships or something to get them started and go from there. NEM0, Houston, should we be concerned about mining the moon from a density ratio to Earth perspective? Could that affect things like tides? Nope. Wouldn't affect them at all. As it stands, the Earth receives about 2,000 tons a day in dust from space. So we get 2,000 tons a day in dust falling into our atmosphere 24 hours a day, every day for the last 4.5 billion years, just raining down on us all the time. Has not affected our orbit around the sun. Has not affected our balance with the Earth and Moon system because it's minuscule compared to how much mass the Earth actually is and how much mass the Moon actually is. If you're skimming the surface of the Moon for a few million tons of helium-3, it's not going to change anything at all. It's fine. It's insignificant. And plus the system still equals out because you have the same mass objects total in combination. Okay. MG Houston, I learn about the market from your show, Ape and AMC all day. All right. Well, thank you. Welcome. Welcome to you 300 afternoon, evening people hanging out here. Aaron Salentine, hey Houston, so what is a $1 trillion valuation would be for GameStop price? Simpsons predict GME $1 trillion. How many zeros would that end up putting on there? Where's my calculator? Let's figure out. I bet I'm going to get just an error or something. Calculator. Calculator's on. Oh, I got to turn Google Earth off. That's right. Turn you off. Turn you off. There we go. Calculator. Okay. So $1 trillion valuation. Times, was it 300 and how many million shares? 304 million shares or something? How many zeros is that? 3 to the 20th. Duh. 3 to the 12th is trillion plus 8 more, so that is quadrillion, quintillion. That's 30 septillion? Sextillion. That's a lot. It's a lot of zeros. 30 sextillion. 3 followed by 20 zeros is a giant number. So The Simpsons, 30 sextillion dollars. It's doable. Cloud9, did you watch Sam on Bill Maher show, Ben Affleck? Yeah, Ben Affleck tore Sam a new asshole on that show. And I hope Sam reflected on it and was like, yeah, I'm kind of a bigot when it comes to categorizing L people of particular region as being terrorists. And for the most part, a lot of people are just the victims of terrorism, more likely. Anthony G, any info on the supposed Citadel loans? I just know that they took out like 6 more giant loans or bonds. I mean, it's not a good sign if your money market maker guy has to take out loans to stay alive. That's a sign that perhaps they aren't market making very well. I mean, you have the ability to print as many shares as you want whenever you want, collect that money and never have to pay it back. And you need to borrow funds? What is it that you're doing wrong? Where are you going wrong there, Citadel? Mount St. Funk, my dad had a dream that my cousin was covered in seaweed, sat in his bed, told him goodbye. The next morning there was a phone call. She had drowned in the ocean. Well, there's one of those weird instances. Yeah, this does happen, man. My cat, my former cat, B.A. Baracus, wonderful little Balinese, was like a long-haired Siamese cat. He's a wonderful little dude. And he was about 19 years old, and he and Monkey were like this. They just had love time together. But he started bringing in live creatures into the house, like live mice. Like he used to murder them and leave them on the porch, like all cats. Like, here's your offering, sir. I've left you this half mouse ass for you to step on in your bare feet when you walk outside. And they started bringing them in live, and then just like looking at me and just dropping them and be like, kill it. And I think B.A. Baracus was trying to teach me how to hunt so that I could feed myself. He's like, look, this guy is useless. I'm going to be dying soon. I have to teach him how to hunt before it's too late. And he kept teaching me, so I'd have to like catch these things. And he was like so proud of me when I'd catch this little mouse. He was like, there you go, you did it. And then one day, he goes out in the evening, does his cat thing, whatever. One night, he went outside, and I woke up in the morning, and I was like, he's not coming back. It just clicked. It's like, I'm never going to see him again. And I opened the door in the morning, he wasn't there. I went to work, came back, he wasn't there, and never saw him again. He either got captured by a coyote, or he like went into the house and died somewhere. I don't know. But definitely it was like, boom, like that was it. I'm never going to see him again. He's gone now. And I never saw him again. So, Monkey Butt, I hope I don't have that feeling with you. No. You're a special dog. You are. You're a very special dog. You are not so special. You get 10 more days, buddy. 10 more days, and you're going back with the sister's family. Yes. 10 more days, and then you're gone. And then all this hair flying around my house, I can finally just suck it all up. Get rid of it. And the house can feel clean. How will that be? Oh my goodness. Be wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And then all of your fur can go over her house again, back where it belongs. Wouldn't that be great? It would be wonderful. Stone, get money. How can you turn an engine in? How can you turn an engine in space if there's no oxygen? You bring the oxygen. If you're going to do, you also have some solid state contraptions, but yeah, you bring your fuels with you, and that's how you do it. You'll be able to get oxygen out of rocks on the moon, so you can get some, but you just got to figure out how to get the volatile the oxygen will combine with for the engines. Yeah, Liz Clayman's got the same type of story. I don't know. There's like something like maybe they just blink and it just goes out into the universe and it just goes through the consciousness of everyone to know. And they're like, oh, Tom. I thought about Tom for a second. That was weird. I haven't thought about it in years. Burt Reynolds came to me in a dream. He did some stuff I'm ashamed of. Big dog, you have hair stuck to your face. You have hair stuck everywhere. You're a freak. You're a freak. Julianne just thought this past week about it. An older gentleman used to drive to the doctor's appointments, looked up his name, and found they had buried him that day. Yeah, it's very weird. Very weird from my brother and sister and I were talking a couple years ago about this. Just happens. You just, I haven't thought of that person in a while. And then you discover like, that was like their last moments. That's so weird. If we knew all the mysteries, we wouldn't need the market. Bill? Very true. Yeah. Frozen State Productions, what do you know about hemp batteries for cars? Sounds like a good idea if plausible. Potheads want to use hemp for everything. Hemp sucks. like if you're a sailor and you have a choice between a nylon, a cotton, or a hemp rope, the hemp rope's going to be the cheapest because it's the biggest piece of shit. If you ever use hemp paper, it's garbage. Hemp fabric is like the worst burlap. So itchy and uncomfortable. They like to turn hemp into everything because they think it's an excuse like, hey, if I can grow hemp for like wood flooring, then I can smoke some marijuana. That seems to be the entire, like, sure, hemp can be used for stuff, why not? But hemp battery, like, are you going to grow a bunch of plants, make what's probably an inferior battery that no one will want, except for a bunch of burnt out hippies, because they're like, dude, I got a hemp battery and the Volkswagen's awesome. I don't know. I'll have to read more into hemp batteries, but just burner hippies like to make everything out of hemp. Okay, I'm 40 minutes behind. There we go. Don't get money, Houston. One last question. Biden is looking to put EV chargers all over the country. Which one you think is the best EV charger company? I have no idea who the best EV charger company would be. Not a clue. I mean, it should be pretty simple to build. You just make a charger that's high voltage, high amperage, and you plug it in, and that's it, right? You're going to have to make them standard. You have to do what Europe did with phones, like told Apple, you cannot have your own charger. Everything must be USB-C, and that's the rule. The United States has yet to do that, but they're going to have to make an industry standard for charging ports. So like Tesla doesn't have their own compared to Ford or Audi or whatever. Like everyone's going to have the same charging port for all the cars and all the industry. You need to just standardize it, because that's the best way to make that stuff work. Cloud9, do you think AMC, Ape, and GME are good hedges against the market? That's the entire game I'm playing, because they shorted our stocks, which means when their long holds go underwater when the market collapses and they get liquidated, they're going to have to close the positions on our stocks, meaning they're going to have to buy our stocks. So as the market crashes hard, ours are going to fly high. And that's totally what I'm counting on. Silvana, what are your thoughts on lab diamonds and lab gemstones? Are they the same? Thanks. More or less. I mean, you aren't going to be able to tell the difference without a loop. Like if you have a Kashmiri blue sapphire that was plucked from the earth in Kashmir, India, Pakistan, wherever you want, Kashmir, and it's perfect stone, and you have a lab-grown one that's Kashmiri blue, and it's perfect stone. You got these two perfect stones. If you look under a loop, at 50 or 100 magnification, you look at the lab stone, you're going to see almost like this beautiful little microscopic, almost spiral-looking lines of teeny tiny, itty-bitty, like micron-sized bubbles. And that's how you tell it's a lab-created one versus a real one, because the way it's called flux, the way that they pull the stones to create the lab-created ones. They basically get all this material and they sort of convince the stone to amalgamate these gases and juices into a crystal. And the way it forms, it kind of forms almost in a spiral, and it makes these tiny little bubbles along the way that are just microscopic. So with like a sapphire or a ruby that's pulled in that way, you can tell the difference. Diamonds, real diamonds will fluoresce under X-ray, and fake diamonds will not for some reason. And so that's the best way they can tell. And they don't quite know why that is. Might have to do with time and pressure, I don't know, and how they got cooked. But the minute someone creates a lab-created diamond, and they may have done it already, we just don't know. But the minute someone creates a lab-created diamond that fluoresces under X-ray, they're going to be making diamonds like crazy and selling them, because they'll be having all these perfect diamonds that look exactly like a diamond you'd pull from the earth, and they'll sell them for a lot of money. There is, how I'll say, there's a romance about having a stone that was made by the earth versus having a stone that was made by a machine. There's a romance there that is an intangible, that people will ascribe more value to the one from the earth. Even if the one from the machine is more perfect and more beautiful, there is something that like tugs at the heartstrings of people. They want the one that's made by Mother Earth, by Gaia. And to them that is worth the money. Plus, there's labor involved. Stones are hard to get. They take work. They're tiny. A lot of meticulous effort to pull those stones out. And so there is labor involved, so there is a minimum price those stones have to cost. Versus purchasing the machinery and then enacting the machinery to press these stones into existence out of like fake diamonds or whatever. There's electricity and there's the price of machinery and everything. But once you have an assembly line going, it's not so much labor intensive anymore. So the price on those are cheaper. Plus people, they don't have like a romance with the fake stones. But in the end, like if you're wearing jewelry, no one will be able to tell just by looking at it without a loop. So, wear what you think looks good and what you want. And if getting a cheaper stone because lab created looks just as good and you don't care, by all means, go for it. David Allen Grove, naked shorting is already illegal, isn't it? Did you just mean shorting a stock? No, I mean naked shorting. Naked shorting is not illegal. It's illegal, but it's not. Because you're allowed to naked short that share as long as you can prove that someone else owns that share. Oh yeah, Tom has some shares, so I can naked short it, because if I really need to, I can just go to Tom and buy some and cover my position. And the government goes, okay. Or if you're a market maker, you can just sell shares that don't exist whenever you want. So no, naked shorting is totally allowed. And if you are a hedge fund, you can rent the ability to naked short whenever you want from a market maker. So you can call up Citadel or Susquehanna and be like, hey, Citadel, I want you to naked sell $8 million in shares in this company, and I'm going to rent the right for you to do it. And Citadel goes, all right, whatever. And they sell those shares, give the money to the hedge fund. The hedge fund gives them a rental fee every month, and that's it. And so there's naked shorting is totally allowed. It's illegal, but they made enough loopholes that it's not really illegal. Steve Gaghagen. Where are we going? 58 degrees west, 34 north. Where's that? Bermuda? Where are we going? Wink. Oh, gotta turn on the earth. Can't understand. What do you mean can't understand? Oh, it's south. Oh, south, not north. So that might be like Argentina or something. Okay. 0.4. Oh, that's because you are minutes, not seconds, so you need that. Did I do it? No. 15 minutes, 07, 8 seconds. Why won't you go there? It seems like you would want, maybe if I go like that, and like that, and I make you negative, and I make you negative. Why don't you like it? Why? Everything looks like it's written perfectly. Why? Star Steve, it's not letting me go there. So maybe if I just zoom out, I go somewhere near there. Be like down here somewhere. That's 27, 34, 58, 34, 34, 15, and 58. 3400, 58, 49. So we're outside Buenos Aires. 34, 34, 34, 15. 34, 15. And 58, 49. 58, 49. Somewhere in here. Somewhere in here. 34, 15, 07. 34, 15, 07. All right, we're doing this the hard way because I can't get this thing to work. And 58, 49. 58, 49 is this way. There. Right there. And I don't have any... Looks like a field. But not updating any pixels for me. Dang it! Somewhere in there is our thing. In this fuzzy area. Sorry, Steve Gaghagen. It was a complete nothing burger. Did not work. I don't know why. I'm sorry. Red Ape 37 Houston, I recently learned about Prince Rupert teardrops. They are super badass. Can you talk about them? Prince Rupert teardrops. A different name for them, maybe? Oh, these are the things. Yeah, dip in the. You drop glass and they explode. Yeah. That's what these things are. Okay, these are the exploding glass things. Yeah, you drop. Oh crap. Chrome. There we go. So you drop molten glass into water and it freezes instantly, and they're like super hard to break, but if you like snap the tail or something, they explode. Yeah, these things are cool. So they have something to do with the structure. Like they discovered that it's like a lattice structure, the way it cools, and it's very, very strong, but at the weakest point, it can trigger everything else. They're cool. I recommend watching a video on them. Yeah, the Smarter Everyday one was on it. So you want to watch a cool thing on it. They explain the physics of it really well. Let's claiming a resub because I like you. Oh, thank you, Liz. Reddit saw a video of one of them in a hydraulic press and left a dent. Yeah, the bead itself is like so impossibly strong, but you snip the tail and the whole thing just explodes. Monkey's getting chunky. Monkey, are you getting chunky? Are you a chunky monkey? Huh? Are you? Or are you a talkative monkey? So last night at, I don't know, 2 in the morning, I let him outside. There was a deer and a bunny rabbit in the yard, and they went nuts. They went after, but the deer and the bunny rabbit split up, and the dogs just in that second of like, oh, which way do I go? Both of them managed to get away, and both dogs came away empty-handed. Didn't get their deer and bunny. So, all right. Well, it's 6:30. I do have to go to the gym. Don't say funk. Last night, my genetics test showed that I'm in the 95th percentile of the addiction bell curve. Now my 20s and 30s make much more sense. Okay. Okay, I'll do like 2 more, and then I gotta go curl things. Mount St. Funk, back in the 90s when I studied weather, climate, and ecology, we had models that are still holding true. Nothing has changed. Going to get serious soon. Carbon, population, deforestation, boom. Yeah, there's going to be something that's going to result in, some place becoming I can never say it right. Uninhabitable. Uninhabitable? Yeah. For millions. There's going to be somewhere that's probably a first world nation, heavily populated. All of a sudden they're going to have a cascade, a collapse of their habitat. And where are they going to go? If you look at how the Mayans likely collapsed, was they liked to put this plaster on their walls. And to bake the plaster, to chop down some trees and make a fire. And their desire to put this plaster on their walls was, everyone was so hungry for it, they basically cut down all the trees, and they had an ecological disaster. The whole ecology collapsed, and they died. And that's probably what happened. Same thing probably happened with the Aotearoa. Not Aotearoa. Aotearoa is New Zealand. Easter Island. Rapa Nui. And Rapa Nui is that they probably cut down all the trees, had an ecological collapse, and then that was it. The society just kind of died. There's going to be somewhere, whether it's Szechuan, somewhere in Western Europe that's going through crazy droughts, southwestern United States. There's going to be somewhere where suddenly there's just no more water. They got very close in Cape Town in South Africa. All the reservoirs ran out of water. Everything was just, they're like, well, we're all going to dehydrate to death. So, oops. And then all of a sudden, just last minute, they got enough rain to like refill the reservoirs for a little while. But there's going to be a big city somewhere that's going to run out. And people are going to, some people are going to be like, well, if you have to just wait. And they're going to wait, and they're going to wait, and the water's never going to come back. And other people are going to go, I'm the fuck out of here. And then people die, and it's going to be very weird. It's coming. Something's happening. Something's coming. Okay. DVS is in the chat. Here we go. This is the man that's my calendar at this point. Excited for next week. Looks like proper OPEX as far as we can tell. October 21st, 60 Cs look to be the optimal strike for Vega sensitivity if you're doing calls. Really? 60 C, it's getting up there, man. I could definitely, I've got 33s, so that would give 2,700 per one of those. I could use that. That would be really nice. Okay, so hopefully those GMEs print nice. Now, October 21 are what I have. So, noted, DVS. Noted. He's pretty good with his calendar. So take a listen to that man. When he posts, sometimes he can't watch live, so he might post a comment about dates that are coming up. He's been pretty good about it. So I seriously I use him as my calendar in that case. Okay. All right. It's 6:40. I got to go get stuff done. Thank you everybody for joining me. It's fun as always. Friday show, I don't know if it'll be a daytime show or it'll be a nighttime show. Probably daytime, I think I could do on Friday. It's supposed to start to get nice and cool, so daytime shows are getting easier and easier now that we're stepping into fall. But catch you guys on the flip side? Yeah? How about a little daytime outro? Shabwam!